Happy New Year, and thanks for taking the time to join us today. Well, I see it as a very good omen that in the very first episode of this year, we have already a guest from the community with us, and this is Wouter Lemaire. Hi, Wouter. Yeah.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Yeah, that's really great. Yeah, I believe most of you already know Wouter, so I keep it short. Wouter is an UI5 enthusiast from the very beginning and very active in sharing his knowledge, be it through blog posts or lectures at events like the UI5Con. He was also one of the organizers of the very last in-person UI5Con in Belgium in 2020. Yeah, and Wouter is also a keen TypeScript fan and already collected quite a bit of experience using TypeScript for his UI5 projects, which brought him to the idea to create a new generator for UI5 projects with TypeScript for the community. And yeah, this is what he wants to showcase today.
Yes.
Yeah, and then by my side, as always, Stefan Beck.
Hi.
Peter Muessig.
Hello, everyone. Happy New Year.
Yeah, and Andreas Kunz.
Hello.
Yeah, Andreas and Peter dealt also once again with TypeScript and created a new tutorial they want to present briefly. But first, we want to hear from Stefan what we can expect from 2022 with respect to new development in UI5. So I hand over to Stefan.
So we are, as maybe in the beginning as a disclaimer, still working on the goals and will shape what we are about to do, but still it's already a good time to give you an outlook about the topics where we are quite sure. Since TechEd, you have heard about the Fiori Next initiatives. That means that we work on a next theme family for our design called Horizon that we want to release at Sapphire. And this definitely will be one of the focus topics of SAP UI5 and the control area in the beginning. There is currently work ongoing mainly on the aesthetics, shaping the controls. With the primary goal, obviously, to help the end users that they can done their work better and faster than ever before with a new and fresher look and feel that people are used to from their kind of other interactions with computers, mobiles, and any kind of technical system. So yeah, if you want, I can also talk more about Fiori Next in one of these sessions, but basically the inspiration is to take whatever you know from basically your casual applications that used from your day-to-day business up to the PlayStation 5 mentioned by Peter shortly, and enhance that by, we would call it the enterprise sugar on top of the design, so that you get done the work as efficient as possible. And we now initially work on the controls, and during the year the impact will go deeper. We talk about sounds, we talk about, let's say, new building blocks, and let's say basically a new design system that is behind that. So this will definitely be a topic that will go on through the next year. The second goal, the programming model and functional scope, will continue. We have a long list of requirements from our primary stakeholders and also from customers' perspective. Currently these days, focus is on kind of date, time and formatting, timestamp, time zone handling, basically that you will be able to configure other time zones than the one of your operating system. What is currently what we follow, basically, that means you can configure the time zone you want to be in, and also as a developer you can somehow deviate from that and, let's say, state times that should be always displayed in a very specific time zone, where we have quite some requirements. Along with that, we improved the date formatting. We want to consider more of the upper-based customizing that you might know from the past. And also the kind of input validation is getting a bit more strict than it was in the past. Besides that, again, table requirements are important. You have hopefully realized the more optimized column width handling. There will be an additional step on this one. We look into the selection behavior in the table. We make it easier to have multiple, we call it fast creation rows in the table, to have more kind of an Excel-like input capability. So these are the things that are quite on top of that list. And also important to mention, we want during this year now proceed with OData v4 and the related Fiori element setup and MDC controls really to an extent that we would say there's hardly any need to use v2. And having achieved that one, we also would like to reduce then our investment on v2 and focus more on the complete OData v4 stack going forward. Good. In the evolution and innovation area, we have already a kind of a good theming system below us that we share with Classic UI, but you also have heard that we have other and new kit on the block at SAP, for instance, also fundamental UIs, and therefore we want to enhance and extend this common CSS layer so that we have a better theming across all SAP LOBs and products. So this is something that we work on. So we still work on a Maven-free UI5 build infrastructure, including framework and applications, and also very important. And also our dear colleague Peter Muessig is also focusing on that. We want really to optimize the UI5 loading and bootstrapping to give you more kind of control and freedom in how to bootstrap, in how to give first let's say how to better handle progressive loading overall. I think that is the key behind it, and to get earlier feedback to the end users when starting apps. Good. In the Flex area, we had quite some investment around stability, around security, let's say multi-availability zones, high availability HANA setup. All that leads to the goal that the service is more or less close to 100% available. So there are only a few leftovers for the Q1, but then we have it done for our Flex offering. The key user service will then also be integrated in a package with Workzone and CFLP, so that the consumption on the non-ABAP stack is then also easier. And what is also already available in the ABAP stack is that we would like to have this low-code, no-code based add field scenarios, that you can have SAP BTP applications as a customer and then add fields directly from UI down to the database running on top of CAP. So we have that available internally already, and hopefully the CAP colleagues will do the required stuff that we then can also release that one to you. Then we also have to see how we continue. And this is not yet a commitment, but hopefully we can embrace this, that we also, let's say, for the extension projects, use VS Code-based flexibility editors to go along with the overall direction of BAS and Fiori tools. So these are somehow the higher level blocks that we look into for UI5 in 2022. I know it's not the focus on this call. Still, I would like to quickly look also in the web components goals. So the first one I keep short is very identical with the Horizons theme. However, therefore I also put it in. We would like and want to enable that also the web components can be used inside SAP UI5, not only OpenUI5 as standard control libraries, and as web components play a more important role in the future. It's also very important that we, from the very beginning, think of an extension concept. That means we build kind of a web components that adhere to the core design system of SAP. However, in SAP line of business or you at customer side might want to enhance and extend controls. And also with the web components, we will want to put this on a, let's say, robust fundament that this is possible and works quite nice. And also the fourth topic is something that you know, this enhanced or extended common CSS layer, obviously that we want for UI5 Classic and Fundamentals is then also the very same one that is below the web components that we have overall across the SAP portfolio, a consistent picture with regards to theming. Good. Now coming to two more topics that I would call worthwhile to know and to recall it, or that you remember it. We have already some communication that I put in here. So in January, we now will really start to remove our code lines, or the first code lines of our CDN offering, of our Akamai offering. So we will start very low in the 1.20th region, UI5 version 1.22 to 26. Unfortunately, we saw still usage on that one, but I hope we have reached the customers in the meantime. We have also generated a kind of a mailing list where you can register to get further updates. And so this is step one in January, and in March there will be then the second step. And as said, all details you find in this community blog that I have listed there, and Oliver Graf gave an update mid-December with the latest decisions. So I think this is quite clear. The next one might be surprising for one or the other of you. We will see a change in our testing strategy. Basically, we have decided that UI5 will enter the maintenance mode, and we will embrace open standards and community tools with EDIO and specifically an adapted version VDI5. What should be the way forward? So we still see and look here how a joint venture could look like, but basically the assessment was that VDIO gives us a very robust and good fundament. It's a widely known open standard. We ourselves have been very short in resources always, and with UI5 specifically, and comparing the two approaches, there's a huge overlap. So what we want to do obviously is still to contribute and to enhance the test tools, and also together with partners, and basically ideally you, the community, and we'll add the stuff that it works smoothly for UI5. However, a lot of the infrastructure is just good as it is, and it was built, and therefore it makes a lot of sense to go for this reuse and to spend the capacity that we can save somewhere else. So more to come. We will communicate more about this, but as a kind of a heads up, and also no reason to be shocked. And what happens now if I use Verify? Is it a disaster? No, it is not, obviously. It is in maintenance mode. That means there is support. We will continue to answer questions. However, the direction is now clear, and in the future will be a different one. However, we are all convinced that it is a good one, and in the end it will make us stronger than before.
Okay, Maria asked, what's the goal with web components inside UI5? Will their standard controls replaced or side by side? If side by side, it should be clear with control to use when. Which control to use when?
Good. So first, the easy part of the question is, it is a side by side offering. We said that for everything that we now build newly. So that means if there's a control request that does not yet exist, we won't build at SAP a new UI5 controls, but we would only build a web component. And with that, we have the maximum reach of our investment. As we address UI5, we address Fiori elements. However, we will also address other potential technologies that are already relevant or might be relevant in the future. So here we definitely have a clear goal that for all things that we do in the future, the new stuff, there's clearly no overlap. The decision is clear, go for web components, as there will only be a web component. There will be no choice. But yes, now the a bit more tricky part, obviously also the web component offering needs base controls that do already exist. And there's a kind of a real side by side. And also here the answer is clear, and especially inside Fiori elements, you do not have any choice. So basically, the guidance is if the UI5 control exists, use the UI5 control for the time being and use for the extension stuff the web components. Is this the last word? No. We also look into that one and see, hey, what further options do we have? Can we save even more? Can we bet more on web components? This will be examined in the future. However, as you said, we should be clear with the communication once we reach that state. And therefore, let's really be crystal clear now. For the time being, you use the UI5 control. And for the new stuff, where there is no UI5 control, it is the web component. And as soon as we enter the gray zone, we will let you know and give you the rules.
We are working already in the statement what we can say about that. So basically, if you have a look, and when you may remember that what I showed some months back in one of the UI5ers live sessions, when showing the retrofit part or the enablement part here, we have the bread butter controls in the web components part and also in the sub-M part. And when you already use sub-M controls or have clear usage of more sub-M controls than using and staying with the sub-M controls is good. You should not mix sub-M and the sub-UI5 web component space controls here together then in one application. But as Stefan said, yeah, all the things which are done additionally, they can be then also used combined. And for the bread and butter controls, it's more the decision where you are coming from. If you start from scratch, the usage of the web components would be the go-to thing. And that's basically it. But we work out a bit more guidelines for that. This is one of the tasks what we have these days, together with the enablement where we are working on. And we share soon also more information about that.
Good. Thanks a lot. So I think that was all of the questions, more or less.
Mm-hmm.
Colleagues, and today I have to leave now. Basically, I should have left at half, but it's okay that I need a bit more time. Peter knows it already from our keynote speeches. So have fun today, and the conflicting appointment hopefully will be postponed the next time. At least okay. The secretary agreed to do it. Bye. Sorry for that.
So now, Wouter, so it's your turn now.
Thank you. Yeah, first of all, Happy New Year, everyone. Maybe some of you still remember, maybe not. Doesn't matter much, but last year at TechEd, I had the opportunity to share some of my experience with TypeScript. And just after that, Margot reached out to me about this topic, and I was, I did say something wrong, but it was more to discuss my feedback and the experience that I had. And during that meeting we had, one topic came up, and that was the templating, the generators. I guess in the UI5 or in the SAP world, we are maybe spoiled with the generators we have from Web IDE. Maybe, I think we already had it in the Eclipse. I don't remember exactly.
Very basics.
Yeah, very basics. But we had it from the beginning. We have it today in BAS, in Visual Studio Code. So we're really used to those templates. And this was one of the topics that came up. We were missing a template for TypeScript. At least, yeah, we started using TypeScript from the very beginning when it was announced. There was no generator yet. And then, yeah, Peter said something to me. I think it was like, Wouter, you're being lazy. You can create your own generator. And I said, okay, fine. If you help me how to create one. So we really teamed up and we created a new TypeScript generator. there was already one, which is basic with the one view, but most of the time it's not enough. I also do not like to have a template that comes with too much. I often have those templates and I start cleaning up the template after it's generated. So yeah, we try to come with a new one that gives you something more like a master detail, but also not too much. So yeah, I will start sharing my screen and share the new generator. This generator is part of the Easy UI5 generator that already exists. So if you have it already, you might have to update it. I think, Peter, you made me update them.
There's one update necessary. So recently there was a little bug inside of the Easy UI5 generator that it didn't update the templates it downloaded. And the latest version, the 3.1.5 version of Easy UI5 now also works properly when a template has been updated, that it fetches it.
Thank you, Peter. So I've already updated the Easy UI5 generator. So if I say yo, it will give me the generators I have installed. I only have one Easy UI5. So
the most important one.
The most important, indeed. So we have already a lot of generators here for a library control project. This one is the original one, TypeScript app, the first TypeScript generator. Now there is another one, TypeScript app with FCL, that stands for Flexible Column Layout, to provide you a master detail. It will, of course, the same questions appear from the original template. It will ask me for a name. So let me call it UI5 Live demo, a namespace. And then this is also something, this is actually some magic from Peter that he put into it.
Nah, so much not. Just metadata reading.
Yeah, so I made the questions and Peter did the integration with the metadata. So you can now provide an OData service in the template. And I'm just going to use the Northwind example that's already in here. And the cool stuff is if you provide an OData service, it will try to fetch the entities. So we will ask you to select a main entity for your list and for the details. So let's say we use here projects. It's an entity I would like to see a list of projects. And it will also ask me to select a key, and immediately it gives me the keys that are available. Most of the time it will be one, maybe two, I don't know. In this case, it's only one, which is ideal. And the key will be used in the template for the navigation, to be sure that the navigation is unique and you always have a unique path to the detail page. And then it's also asked me for already selecting a binding for the title. In the first page, it will be a list. I will show it immediately. And I can say, yeah, the title, to what should I bind it? So I'm just going to take name. And then I have one other field. And usually in the UI5 generators, in Buzz or in WebIDE, you can then select an amount or an additional field. Here it's just another field, just to have more than one field to bind as an example. And are the new questions. The questions that come now are the same as in the other generator. So I'm going to use OpenUI5 for today.
To mention one thing maybe also for this version here, we also recently made an update to the templates here that these versions are also checked that it's always using the latest versions. So there's also a nice utility. I think it's package. It's also package.json, the name of this utility, which can be used to fetch the metadata for packages, and we use it to get the latest version from, for example, here in this case, OpenUI5.
I just take the default one. I think it's okay, Peter, to use this one.
That's good. Okay. The latest one from yesterday.
Nice. So yeah, I just take the defaults and I let it do its thing. That will immediately install the dependencies.
Sometimes we discover also that it breaks here in the install phase. In this case, just go in and in the project run npm install then again. I will also follow up on that. I'm wondering really why that happens, because it works then if it runs directly in the project.
I had this earlier today as well. So run again here npm install.
You normally don't need to do that. So when it was successful like yours, then it's good. And these vulnerabilities will also be fixed when the dependencies are being updated. We will do that soon.
All right. Thanks, Peter. Yeah, before jumping in the template, I'm just going to show you the result. So using npm start. It will open the browser. We'll see the application. It starts with a list of the first entity, the selected entity, which is products. You see here the title with the ID and the other field. By default, it comes with a search. If you search for an item, it will give you the result. You can also change the order. And of course, we can select an item. When I select an item, it opens a detail page and it shows the title and the other field. I also added here, it's not bind. I didn't want to.
That would be a good place. That would be a good place for a contribution. Maybe someone wants to make a fix for this typo here. The other, I just recently noticed it. We can also get the first contribution now from one. Let's see who is the fastest.
Yeah, nice. I had to look quite well to see it. So the template comes with a detail page. It's very empty because from my point of view, I often, when I use the generators that are provided, I delete always a bunch of stuff that's generated. So I wanted a generator for the master detail, but not too much details in the details. And I also like to have those tabs without using the object page layout. Wanted to have this as an example in the template itself. So when looking in the template, so what's being generated is the source folder and not the web app folder. That's generated by the TypeScript spider. Here, we have a controller for the main, the detail page, the error handler is converted to TypeScript. We have the basic views, the master, the detail. And I would say, just give it a try and have a look. I'm not sure, Peter, is there anything particular that I need to mention in the template?
Good question. No, I think it's, from the structure perspective, you have it named properly, app view, master, and detail view. So I think it should be pretty okay to understand it from a structure perspective. And but it's nothing special. It's more adding this flexible column layout on top of that. Maybe one thing, you added this base controller. We don't have that in the UI5, in the original template for the TypeScript part. So this is something which you have, which is also the foundation for all of your controllers, the base controller TS, where you put all more generic stuff inside the get router call and stuff like that, get model. That's one of the speciality, which is a bit more different to that what we had before. But overall, I would say from a setup perspective, it's close to the simple template what we had before.
Indeed. It automatically sets the namespace, the name, the master. It's quite basic, but it gives you a start with a master and a detail. So you do not have to configure every time the flexible column layout. The routing is done for you. So here it sets master, it sets the master detail, it uses the ID that you select as key, and it uses the key as the ID for the navigation. It also sets the OData model, and it does the OData model, it's mentioned here. It pre-configures the Fiori tool. It uses the Fiori tools as a proxy to redirect every request for V2 to your server. What else do we have? And in the view, we have bindings to the selected entity. You have a binding to the title, to the selected key, and to the description. Same in the detail page. Here, just as an example, so the title here, it's always binds to the same field, but you can change it. And just to show you how this detail page can be used. And I think with that, I showed.
You could now show and rerun the template generation because the issue has been fixed already.
All right.
Reviewed and merged by many people. So if you would run the generator now again, yo, easy UI5, and then you get immediately also the fixed template, and you showcase and prove that now removing the old generator, downloading the new one. So it works out, the update is fine. And you see how cool that is with our generators, which are available as part of the UI5 community. They can be easily used in the easy UI5 generator inside. Yeah. And that's it.
You could take another entity.
You could take, yeah.
Yeah, I guess that's a nice example how cool open source is. So everybody can just
this was, I think, the most, was it the most interactive session now with live coding and live fixing and live review?
Yeah.
So I think we reach a new quality of the format.
Yeah, maybe this is even a new format, just thinking of tasks that has to be done during the session.
So, and
great.
now?
But maybe a question from my side, Wouter. So how long did you take for this generator, and how easy was it, or how hard was it to come up with this new generator?
Yeah, I used one of the existing projects I had where I already did the conversion manually. And then for putting it into a generator, actually, Peter helped me a lot. I had no clue how to start, and he gave me really a kickstart for this one.
Okay.
I only had to put in the template and put in the questions, and Peter did the magic.
It's not so much magic. Hey, it's fixed. Woo!
It's nice.
Cheers.
Yeah, that's great, Wouter. It's cool that you did the time or took the time. So I hope you also learned something. And just wanted to mention, I mean, when we are reaching out to you, this is never something bad. No, I mean, we were very happy when we saw your tackle session. And that's rather that we shared it between us and immediately said, that's really cool. And as we realized that you're not up to date with the latest developments, we thought it might make sense to reach out to you to share latest news with you, so you are really up to date. And so that's also an offer to everybody of you. So it's really come up to us. If you have something to share, we are really happy to get in contact with you.
It was just a joke. It was. It's really great that you reach out to us, and to help us also creating those community things.
Yeah, that's how it should be. So we somehow have the possibility to shape this UI5 ecosystem world together. And this is really one of the good examples how this can work. Ideas from you picked up and then somehow put in a shared place. And now everyone can benefit of that.
Yes.
There's a question from Marcel Schork, just to get there in. Any plans for easy UI5 to enable custom templates from other GitHub repos? For example, templates containing custom control libraries.
Yeah, we did a discussion in the beginning. We restricted it by intention for the time being. You could for sure also suggest or add your repository to the UI5 community project. This is a possibility what you have, and we are really open to get contributions here. That's that's at the moment the thing. I do not really plan to open it up because otherwise, at least at the moment, we can discuss it for sure, because otherwise it could then somehow get a lot of templates from different places, and we have not really so bit of control on that.
And there's another question from Wolfgang. It's rather a TypeScript question. Is it possible to use TypeScript and classic JavaScript at the same time? Andreas,
the answer is yes, you could even have a mix of some TypeScript files, some JavaScript files. The only difficult thing is probably when you use then JavaScript APIs from TypeScript, because they are not necessarily typed, so you might have to introduce some or define some custom types. But apart from that, it's perfectly fine. The TypeScript compiler will just copy over the JavaScript files if you do the right settings, that it also uses JavaScript sources. So that's also a good way to maybe convert an app step by step by only doing the new stuff in TypeScript and then converting the JavaScript parts later.
I think that were the question for the moment. And I would love to have further discussions, but if we want to have our last topic, I think we should quickly do the introduction of your new tutorials, or your new tutorial, Andreas.
So I think Andreas will start sharing. I will give a short introduction. So for an internal event, the DCOM, Andreas and I prepared so for a hands-on session, a tutorial, which guides you a bit through the development of a TypeScript application from the generator till the application at the end. And this has been now also made public, available in sub-samples for you. You can go there. Andreas shows it right now already, and can get started on that. And with that, I think I immediately hand over to you, Andreas. You can explain what's there and how you can use that.
Okay, right. This is the github.com subsamples UI5 TypeScript tutorial. That's basically a new tutorial we created, which guides you in a hands-on way in a short time, like 1 hour, 1.5 hours or so, through the several things we have published about UI5 already. So there's a couple of exercises in there that really start also with an application template with the UI5 generator, like Wouter just showed, just it's using the simple one, the previous one, the old one without OData stuff, with just one page and so on. So you have the template of the TypeScript app, then you continue writing some code, and creating a second view for details. And then later on, we come even to advanced topics like custom control development inside the app, where we show how this works, and this API generator, which we have shown recently, how this can be used. And finally, even integrating other libraries. Here's a chart library, chart.js, which we integrate here in a way that we also have code completion in TypeScript and import it just as NPM package. So it's really straightforward and really easy. And so this tutorial is, like I said, a 1 hour, 1.5 hours thing where you can really get a hands-on feeling of all the TypeScript things we are doing. Of course, you will not immediately see the huge benefit of TypeScript just from doing this, because this is more about setting up and giving you examples. So it's really showing you what you gain from TypeScript. It's showing you that you get code completion here and errors are displayed there, and you can do a quick fix to import things. So it shows you how you will be supported by TypeScript in development. But I think when you have gone through this and you really continue implementing this app, you will notice even more what TypeScript gives you. So there, everything is explained, what TypeScript does, what you have to do. You don't have to know UI5 by heart to do this, but it will probably help. And it's just creating a simple application. As we are still in Corona times, it's an application to track COVID incidents. It's using a public API. And you can run the app from the links here after each stage. So it's starting from just a simple page. And in the end, it's displaying a grid list of the states of Germany with the current incidents, how many infections are there per 100,000 people in the last 7 days. And if you click such a grid thingy, then you will see the chart with the history of the past 100 days, how infections evolved during this time. And this is basically the app you develop when doing the tutorial from scratch. Okay, we haven't linked it yet on our overview page for everything about TypeScript. So GitHub, GitHub.io, UI5 TypeScript. This is the central page to go for anything about TypeScript. You will add this tutorial here. We will also add, of course, Wouter's generator here, but all the other things we already have are already linked from this page.
I think also here, please go through there. If you find any issues or so, then just report it there. And but I think it's a good start if you want to start with TypeScript, then go through this tutorial. There's one question, not to the tutorial, but I'm not sure if you had it once again. Is it possible to use a wait command in UI5 with TypeScript?
I think it's even possible to use without TypeScript, right? I mean, it depends on the infrastructure you're using, but this is just more modern JavaScript. If the browsers you target are capable of handling it, and I think browsers supported now by UI5 can, then there should be no problem using this.
This should work. We use it already in, I think, not in these templates, but we use it already in some or the other applications we build with TypeScript. So as we don't need transpilation anymore for that, it can be just used.
But even without TypeScript, you can use await.
Yeah, that's independent from that.
This is really just a question of the browser platform you want to support. And inside SAP, maybe also if you have some build tools that parse your JavaScript or so, or then you might run into trouble. But with TypeScript, yeah.
There is also, Marcel mentions that there is also a plugin for Babel, which can be used for transpilation of the code to convert the async await into a promises function, into a promise, and then this can be used. Yeah, the UI5 task transpile from the UI5 ecosystem showcase can do that. A lot of material for the start of the year.
Yeah, definitely.
A new generator, a new tutorial. So the next weeks should be pretty settled.
Yeah, let's see. And yeah, so that's it for today. Next session will be in February 10th. So on February 10th, we will have another UI5ers live. As I said, I'm very happy that we had a guest from the community with us. And I hope we can have this tradition also with the next session. So if you have something that you want to share with us and also with the community, just reach out to us. And we are very happy to invite you to one of our UI5ers live. And thanks again, Wouter. It was really, really great to have you. And also thanks for all the work you are doing for UI5. That's really great that you share so much with us and also with the others.
Thank you for having me. It's super cool to be on UI5ers live.
Cool. So if the others do not have any final words, I would say have a good day and take care, and hope to see you next month then.
Yeah, see you next month. Take care.
Bye.
Enjoy the tutorials and the template and all the things.
Yeah, bye.
Bye.